Snyder. I'm going to be talking about shakuhachi with you today. I'm an instructor at Kent State University in ethnomusicology. I have a master's in ethnomusicology, and we'll be going on to the PhD soon. Can you speak up? Yes, I can talk louder, slightly. Sorry, I do meditation most of the time, so talking loud. Alright, so the shakuhachi, you can switch slides. The shakuhachi is made out of bamboo. It is very difficult to make, and so they're generally pretty expensive, even though they're this tiny little piece of bamboo. It is the root of the bamboo. You can see down here the roots coming out. And so what you do is you gather the bamboo, taking it out of the ground is very difficult to do. And then there's a period of time for drying, just like the drum. You have about 2 to 3 years approximately that you want the bamboo to dry. So that's another reason why they're kind of expensive. It takes a while to make them. 6 months is kind of like the minimum you want them to dry. They'll probably crack though if you do anything near that time. So after you've dried your bamboo, you're going to cut off all the excess and cut slightly of an angle here for your mouthpiece, your uchi here. And then it comes down to drilling holes, and that's all a mathematical process based upon the length of the piece of bamboo that you have. And after that, there's just tuning, which fine-tuning I can show you. I've made my own. When you fine-tune a shakuhachi, you can take the sawdust from the bamboo after you've cut the end off and take some glue and fill in different holes, and that gives you the proper tuning. So that's essentially how a shakuhachi is made. You also then can put lacquer on it. There are 2 different styles. So the unlacquered is the first style, the original style, used by monks, and then the lacquered is more for performance because it's a lot louder with the lacquer on it. So, yeah, so historically, the shakuhachi has the most interesting history, I think, because it has been used as an instrument for meditation with the Fuke sect of Zen Buddhist monks in Japan during the Edo period in Japan. And the shakuhachi itself was a tool to get closer to nature, to the surroundings, to be one with everything, right? And so the monks wore baskets over their heads. It was an elimination of ego. And so people would wear the baskets around the head. The shakuhachi came under the basket. There were little slits in the basket you could see out of. And then they would, part of their spiritual practice was to walk around and play for people. And people would give them alms. They would give them donations in that little box that they have wearing around their neck. People would put money in there. So, during this time period, Japan was cut off from the rest of the world for about 200 years. People were not allowed passage into Japan or outside of Japan, except for the people who played shakuhachi, because it was part of their practice to be able to travel and to play for people. And so, what you got was a lot of samurai and a lot of other people impersonating the monks. They wore baskets over their heads. They had no idea who you were. And so they could travel around. They had a weapon, very easily used weapon. And so they would be easily able to travel in and out of Japan and do their samurai business. So it's an interesting instrument because not only is it used for meditation, for peace, it's also an instrument, a weapon, because it was a club. It was also, some of the straighter ones were used as a blow dart. You could use blow darts through them. So people started figuring out that people were doing this, that there were people impersonating monks and doing that. So there are pieces that only the monks could play. They're called Hankyoku. And so the rulers of Japan, rulers of China, different places that were trying to figure out who were actually monks and who were samurai, they would ask them to play a Hankyoku. And obviously the samurai could not, and so immediately they were decapitated. So pretty interesting, pretty cruel history, but also very peaceful history. So playing the flute, the reason why not a lot of people play is because it's very difficult to play. It's said to be the most difficult instrument in the world to play because it's not focused on anything flashy. It's not about doing anything fast. It's about having lots of breath, having the right embouchure, and also changing the timbre. With the instrument, you can hear lots of overtones if you're changing the timbre with your embouchure. The other reason why it's really difficult to play is because you want to bend the pitch with your head. I'm going to show this to you. So being able to consistently have a sound and bending your head and keeping the embouchure so that you can keep that sound, that's what's so difficult about the shakuhachi. That's what's so hard to play. Yeah, go ahead.
So being able to bend the sound, I mean, like with a brass instrument, you can like adjust the sound that way too. So you can arrange, like even if it's just a straight trumpet, you can pitch in between the keys.
You can slightly do that, yeah.
And I think so that's a woodwind instrument you can do that with.
Yes, sometimes you can do that with with Western instruments. But with the shakuhachi, you're trying to get even further, and also because of the utaguchi here, you have this half circle. You have to cover everything except for the half circle. I'm going to pass around one of these for you guys. So this one's made of wood, so you can't destroy it. And this one's made of plastic, so you really can't destroy it. So you can see, as you pass those around, you can see the utaguchi here. The mouth area is a small half circle, so you can only blow over that half circle. So whenever you're bending and changing the pitch, you are slowly covering that half circle. And why that's difficult? Because then sometimes you're opening in the back, and then you can't make any sound if it's open in the back. Yeah, so it's very difficult to play. Alright, so I'm going to play for you Kyore, and Kyore means empty bell. It's considered the most quintessential piece that exemplifies Zen Buddhism. So if everyone wants to close their eyes, if you're looking at the shakuhachi, you don't have to close your eyes, but if you want to close your eyes and relax. Con has been really long, right? Difficult, fun, exciting, but it's the end of that time, so we can kind of just make ourselves more relaxed. So
Well, you're not
Kyore.
making us line up against the wall and,
No.
never mind.
No. Kyore, so it means empty bells, so you're going to hear a lot of echoing, and that's the main motif in